Greetings. So I'm back at this sketchbook one more time. Well, it's never just one more time. If you look at the spine, this thing has been around the block once or twice. And I haven't been drawing much lately. I've been busy with so many other things. But to get back into the swing of things, I was going to peruse the sketchbook one more time to not necessarily gain inspiration, but to gain some motivation. And it gives me an opportunity to speak about originality. So there's a few comments I get on my Instagram page, or sometimes here, where someone says, wow, that looks like dot dot dot, or this looks like that guy from that comic book or that illustration or that story, dot dot dot. My initial impression, my initial gut reaction would be, no, it's not. I worked very hard to come up with this. It can't possibly, it can never possibly be like anything else. But that's a gut reaction. In the long run, there is always and ever will be an opportunity for one person's work to look like another person's work. That's the charm of art throughout all of art history. That's always been the charm. I remember in art school, you would always have these avant-garde creeps talking about how that art is derivative. That's not good art because that's derivative. That's part of the past. That's disgusting old crap. And it's like, well, throughout art history, art has been derivative. How else did Michelangelo learn what he learned but by repeating what he saw from people who were artists before him? And those same artists before him, how did they become as good as they were? That's the nature of the progress of art, is that the stuff that's made now was derived from experiences done in the past. So with that being the paradigm of art, that something done 1,000 years ago inspires and teaches something done 100 years ago, which inspires and teaches something done a decade ago, which inspires and teaches something today, you can't help but have something look like something else. When you have 7 billion plus people on the planet, the odds are pretty slim that someone's going to come up with something entirely, absolutely, perfectly original out of the ether. The odds are pretty slim. And one has to accept that. A long time ago, I had invested in this story, and it broke my heart when it looked like someone else had come up with something similar. And that was the wrong reaction. The wrong reaction was to be defeated because something you did looked like someone else. You can embrace that, or you can examine the similarities and work to your strengths on what you're doing to discriminate your work from their work, so to speak. I know discrimination is such a bad word, but it has many more meanings other than the verboten terminology. This character right here has gone through an awful lot of evolutionary changes from the original idea, like this goofy looking monster right here, to something more sinister. The whole issue with originality, it kind of reminds me of this. Alfred Bester is one of my favorite science fiction authors. You can't find any of his books in print. Almost all of them are all completely out of print, or you get them print on demand. And this book has seen better days. The Demolished Man, not the Demolition Man, the Demolished Man. This is an excellent book. And There's something about originality. This book is really fragile. Something about originality. Let's see. In the endless universe, there is nothing new, nothing different. What may appear exceptional to the minute mind of man may be inevitable to the infinite eye of God. This strange second in a life, that unusual event, those remarkable coincidences of environment, opportunity, and encounter, all may be reproduced over and over on a planet of a sun whose galaxy revolves once in 200 million years and has revolved 9 times already. Yeah. This notion of devotion to the idea of being completely original, and this fear of having your work have similarities to another, it's a crippling fear, and one should not fear it. I mean, in art school, what's the one thing they have you do? They have you imitate what's already been done. Or at least back in my day, in the 90s, art school, they had you go around and look at what another artist, you picked an artist out of a hat, and you saw what they did, and then you looked into how they did it, and you were searching for the discipline they had, the skills they had through imitation. I did that with drawing Katsuhiro Otomo's Akira, trying to draw in that style when I was a kid, obsessed with it. And this whole notion of originality is just, it's complex, I'll say it in that way. So designs of the spaceship. More of this monster. One of the premises in this story is the fact that these creatures don't die. The people, the spacemen here, the villain, the hero, these monsters, they don't die. They're transformed, but they don't die. This one character down here at the bottom, he's not dead. His head's sitting there, and there's his body, but he's not dead. And one of the notions, one of the premises in this story is, you look at all the icons and statements of morality and ethics today, and how much of that is defined by only that what those things we're not supposed to do may end our lives. That encourages the effects of mortality. And what would happen in a society if the threat of death was completely gone? It didn't matter what you did. You didn't suffer the consequences because there was no fear of death. What would happen in a society, in a culture, especially in a society and in a culture that has the capacity for spaceships, long-distance space flight? You get this idea that you can be master of monsters. And that's kind of what this is all about. So, anyway. Yeah. If one's work looks like another, there is a such thing as plagiarism. Directly copying, violating intellectual property rights, directly copying. There's a precedent for that. But, other than that, one piece of artwork in a similar vein, in a similar genre, it can't help but be somewhat imitative. And that's the whole point of art. The whole concept behind the function of art is to imitate. Mimesis, I think that's the Aristotelian term mimesis. It mimics. It doesn't represent it exactly, but it mimics it in some way. So, anyway. Thank you for watching.